Well, it's that time again. You open up Steam and bam, demos as far as the eye can see. NextFest is a great opportunity to not only see what games are soon to be released, but also play a bit of them. There's a massive list of games to try though, too many for one person. Today I'd like to discuss the games that I tried out, and hopefully at least a couple might catch your eye. The first game I played was ULTROS. ULTROS caught my attention with its art style and that so eye-catching Metroidvania tag. It's weird though, like really weird. I mean, the description for the game states that you're in the sarcophagus, which apparently is a cosmic uterus. Let me say that again. A cosmic uterus. Ugh. Yeah, so the surface value comes off as Metroid on mushrooms, but penetrate a little deeper and you'll find that there's actually a pretty solid game here. I can't believe I wrote that. Gameplay is pretty solid and the animations are all very smooth. Everything has a lot of color, which can sometimes make it a bit difficult to distinguish what's in the foreground versus the background, but I quickly got the hang of it. Combat is pretty fun too. There's a dodge counter attack system, and there's some traits that you can get to further add to combos. Speaking of traits, ULTROS has a very interesting way of doing skill progression. As you defeat enemies, you'll gain parts from said enemies. You can eat these. If consumed during combat or out exploring, you'll gain health. If gobbled during a rest point, you'll gain nutrition, which is used for purchasing skills. It did seem like there were a couple of parts you could eat during combat to gain both health and nutrition, but I finished the demo before I could really experiment. ULTROS was really fun. It's kind of weird, it's kind of gross, and it's kind of confusing, but it's also kind of awesome. If what you see looks interesting, I recommend you give it a try. ULTROS releases very soon on February 13th and has an asking price of $25 USD. I then tried out Echo Point Nova. This is a fun little open world movement shooter that really captures something special. The objective is simple: defeat enemies around the lights in the sky, but the way you actually complete, and more importantly get to, these light beacons is entirely up to you. The game gives you the keys and lets you find your own way: a hoverboard, a grappling hook, a double jump, a speedometer, and a gun. That's all you need to have fun here. Movement is some of the best I've played with. It took a bit to get the hang of the hoverboard and the grappling hook, but once you do, you can get anywhere. There's no limits to where you can go and what you can do, unless of course you count the bottomless pit surrounding each sky island as a limit. I had so much fun with Echo Point Nova. Just the act of playing the game was enjoyable. The movement, the shooting, the secrets, it was all such a blast to play, and it was even better in co-op. What started as a, yeah, I guess I'll give it a try, quickly changed to, I don't care how much it costs, just give me more. Steam doesn't have a release date or price listed, but there's reference to a summer 2024 release within the game, so hopefully we won't have to wait long. You good, bro? Are you good, bro?
I'm in.
Now, I'm desperately waiting for Silksong to come out, which either makes me the eternal optimist or a sucker, and at this point, I'm not quite sure which one. So naturally, something like this is going to catch my eye. This is Nevergrave, and it's not Hollow Knight. I specifically say that because while this looks like Hollow Knight, it plays completely different. Sure, it's tagged with Metroidvania, but this is really more of a roguelite than anything. After a little tutorial, you're thrown into a boss fight, one you're supposed to lose, though I'm sure somebody beat it first try. Once you're defeated, you wake up in a church, and this is the main hub. You can head outside to the village to build different structures that provide different benefits, but after you're done, you'll end up back in the dungeon for, you guessed it, a run. These dungeons are randomly generated, and yada yada, it's an action roguelike, and I think we're all clear on what that means. The one mechanic that stood out as somewhat interesting though is the hat. You play as the hat, I think. I mean, you can leave the witch and walk around as the hat, and when you do, she dies, I guess? Maybe she's just napping. You can then possess certain enemies, a cool mechanic, and one that's very beneficial since if the possessed enemy gets hit, who cares? It's not you. I liked Nevergrave. It wasn't what I was expecting, and I wouldn't say that I loved it, but it was good. It's certainly nothing we haven't seen before, but if you're looking for another action roguelite, this is probably one worth checking out. Steam says it comes out in Q1 of 2024, and there's no current listed price. On the multiplayer side of things, I tried out Tribes 3. I'm not a long-term Tribes player, but I have played quite a bit of Tribes Ascend when that was around. I really liked the idea behind Tribes Ascend, and it's no different here. It's so much fun to just ski around and launch explosives at each other. That being said, I don't think there's another game out there that I suck at as much as I suck at Tribes. I'm terrible, I mean truthfully. Who knows, maybe the people I'm playing against are just Tribes veterans, and I just happen to be on the receiving end of their years of experience. But wow, from the 8 or so matches I played, I don't think I won a single game. On the bright side, my team was also getting destroyed right next to me, so I didn't feel as bad. The game is still a lot of fun, even if you're getting stomped. The movement feels great, the weapons are impactful and sound punchy, and even during my few days with the game, there were updates adding extra polish to the game. I really enjoyed Tribes 3, and while I may never be good enough to rival the average player, I still nonetheless had a lot of fun skiing around and getting the occasional kill. Steam lists a Q1 2024 release with currently no listed asking price. For the final title in my NextFest exploration, we have Gatekeeper. Like Nevergrave, it wears its inspiration proudly. Unlike Nevergrave, I knew what I was getting into with Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper looks and plays like Risk of Rain, because honestly, that's pretty much what it is. From the characters and locations to the UI, Gatekeeper screams Risk of Rain. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter style rather than the 2D side-scrolling or 3D third-person shooter style of its bigger brother. Taking inspiration and being similar to something doesn't automatically make it bad though, and thankfully Gatekeeper is still fun despite its retreading of walked paths. The top-down style is a fun twist to a familiar gameplay loop, and the items are all very strong and pair nicely with the abilities each character has. I finished my first run and immediately wanted to go back in, which should be a testament of how fun and well designed the gameplay is. Abilities pack a punch, and upgrades come in big enough chunks to immediately see the effect it has on your character. I really liked Gatekeeper, which is saying something because a roguelike really needs to be good for me to enjoy it. This one is. While it may look like a clone on the outside, once you start playing, it's clear the game was made with inspiration in mind, not recreation. Gatekeeper has a Q1 2024 release with no current pricing. That's all I tried. There's so many demos during NextFest, and usually I only try one, maybe two, but this time I wanted to give more a try and really join in on the NextFest. I had a lot of fun. Some games I definitely enjoyed more than others, and I looked through a lot of games that I didn't try, but I feel pretty satisfied with my pickings. I hope I was able to showcase something that looked interesting to you. If you tried any demos out and have your own suggestions, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and happy game hunting.